The origin story of Spider-Man, one of the most popular superheroes ever, is a story we've seen a million times before, but your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man somehow pulls off the impossible. It tells a familiar story again, yet it still feels fresh. It's like getting hit by the same wave of nostalgia from the old animated series, but with a glow-up that slaps harder than Green Goblin's pumpkin bomb to the face. And honestly, this might just be one of my favorite Spider-Man adaptations to date. When I first saw the trailer for this show, I was pretty excited because the animation or visual style made the show feel like we're watching a comic book come to life. Although I do think on the first few minutes of viewing it, something does feel a bit off in my opinion, but it definitely grew on me. Every frame literally feels like it was ripped straight off the pages of a Spider-Man comic. The thick outlines, shadows, and shading is like a comic in motion. Rather than for budgetary reasons, the visual style is clearly more of a stylistic choice, and they really took advantage of that. There are sequences throughout the show where they lean fully into that aesthetic, and that is by actually presenting scenes with panels. What's even cooler, sometimes the characters actually went out of their panel, making a normal scene to be far more interesting. But your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man is more than just its visuals. The show has really good character writing, not just for Peter, but also the side characters. Norman, Harry, Lonnie, Nico, even Pearl. Everyone in the show feels real, grounded. It seems to me that the writer cares about these characters and treats them with equal respect. They each have their own struggles, ambitions, flaws, and that made their interactions with each other to be more meaningful. One example I love is the relationship between Harry and Nico. They started off in this awkward stage of friendship.
I'm so cold.
Me too.
Really?
At one time, Harry accidentally tells Nico that Peter is Spider-Man. Nico, being Peter's best friend, felt betrayed because Peter would keep such a secret from his closest friend. So Harry, feeling guilty about it, wants to make things right. He had a talk with her, telling her despite her being disappointed, she at least gotta know where Peter's coming from, as there are dangers of being a superhero to him and his loved ones. After Nico relented, both of them drove back to Nico's home, and what we got is this intimate moment between the both of them. There's no crazy music playing in the background, it's just two teenagers sharing a genuine connection for one another. Moments like this are so easy to get overlooked, but they are crucial in storytelling. Not every scene has to be action, explosions, or flashy web swinging sequences to keep us hooked. Sometimes it's these small, quieter moments that sticks with us the longest. And that's where your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man truly shines. Just as the show respects our patience, I respect the show for taking its time in crafting their characters and character relationships. Norman Osborn and his wise, charming demeanor as Peter's mentor, whose true colors are carefully hinted as the story progresses. Lonnie and his tragic turn to becoming a gang leader, walking a darker path, which parallels perfectly with Peter's journey. And finally, Peter Parker himself. What your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man nails is how human Peter Parker feels. He's smart, but awkward. He's the kind of guy that can invent web shooters in his bedroom, but still fumbles over his words when talking to his crush.
What? No, I was ready.
He's not just a superhero swinging across the city. More than anything, he's a human with superpower trying to balance his responsibilities as a superhero with the struggles of being a regular teenager. He's empathetic, always putting others before him. Listen, all I'm trying to say is that this is a show that understands Spider-Man. And I love how this show, while not exactly the same as its predecessor, is not totally different either. It's different enough to make itself stand out. And speaking of standing out, I gotta mention about the finale because what an episode! Bringing back Doctor Strange and making him use his time zone to create the portal, which makes present Peter to be the one that causes himself to get his spider power, which ties back to episode 1, which creates this crazy time paradox. Every episode of this show is packed with Easter eggs and cameos, and it's always ones that's enough to either make you do the DiCaprio meme or make your jaw drop to the ground. Tombstone, Daredevil, and Jean as Finesse, Iron Man, Doc Ock, Nico, The Watcher, Richard Parker, and Luna Snow. Fucking Luna Snow? Like, what? Twist after twist, reveals after reveals. This is a show that knows how to perfectly balance emotional depth and hype fan service moments to keep the audience on the edge of the seat. They never get carried away, and most importantly, never lose focus on telling a Spider-Man story. And after what we got in these 10 amazing, spectacular episodes, I can't help but be excited for anything they have in store for us in the future. From what I heard, Your Funny Neighborhood Spider-Man is a 3-season show. They have set up a lot of exciting stuff for the upcoming seasons. If the upcoming seasons manage to be on the same level of quality as the first, I can assure you that this show will be talked about amongst the best Spider-Man adaptations we've ever seen.